Hi guys, today I want to talk to you about what avoidants deeply crave but are often far too afraid to ask for. And the reason I want to address this topic is because I see a lot of clients of mine struggling with trying to give their avoidant what it is they think they need in order to be reciprocated. So they might try give them space, give them time, give them whatever the current trend is for avoidance to help them finally relax and come to you. But that often just means more time passing and them not actually coming any closer, and not fixing the issues between the two of you. In a sense, you are constantly being rejected no matter how hard you try, as though they want things in a very particular way. And you're just not getting through those many layers of armor they have. So if you can relate to any of that, this video is for you. For those of you that are new here, hi, I'm Gabriel. I'm an attachment coach. And in today's video, I'm also going to be sharing a lot of my own personal journey as a former avoidant to help illustrate the points I'm going to make. The one thing I want to clarify before jumping in so that the rest of what I'm going to say actually makes sense is you need to distinguish between what your avoidant says they want and what they actually need. Sometimes it might be the case that they themselves don't quite know how to formulate it, or they don't dare to articulate their needs. Either way, you can't just strictly listen to what they're asking for and believe that if you follow that particular request, it's going to solve things. Because they often might ask for space, and when you give them that 1 or 2 weeks of space and come and check in again, nothing has changed. In fact, they might even seem more distant. It's what I see with a lot of clients, which is why applying no contact is not something I often recommend. So in an effort to finally bring your avoidant closer or to even fix things with them, let's talk about the various things that I, as an avoidant, needed and what your partner likely on some level also needs. Not all of these will apply, of course, depending on their character and their history, but I'm sure you'll be able to relate to at least some of them. And what's more, with each and every one of these points about what an avoidant craves, I'm going to give you phrases you can use to apply in your own relationship to help actually remedy things with your avoidant partner. So let me start by sharing some of my own personal journey in this, starting with a craving I really had that ran extremely deep, that was a desire to feel like I belonged. For a lot of my life, I just did not have that. Whether it was with my family or the communities I was with, I kind of felt like an outsider. The avoidant attachment style, of course, doesn't help there, because even though I was pretty socially active and engaged, and to any outsider it might look like I was part of this group and I did feel like I belonged, deep down I actually did not. So if your avoidant has this capacity to put on a brave or happy face, but you know that there is more behind the scenes and they aren't actually feeling this way, it's just a mask they wear to get through day-to-day life, then this might very well apply to them. They are possibly very good at navigating all these social situations, but still don't feel like they belong. And the same can apply for your own relationship with them, right? That they are with you, physically present, and have spent a lot of time with you, but they don't feel like they belong. And this might have very little to do with your own behavior towards them, but rather because of their upbringing with their parents or caregivers and their attachment style that developed because of it, they just are emotionally isolated and kind of have this lack of ability to allow themselves to feel like they belong. And this certainly very much applied for me. Even when I had a home with Carolina, my now wife, then girlfriend, where we were planning our living space, putting furniture together, hanging pictures, I really struggled with feeling like I belonged in this place. Even though I was surrounded by my things, I was with the person that was dearest to me, I could have friends over, it just didn't feel grounded to me. I didn't feel like I was there. It's a bit like what you might experience with your avoidant feeling a bit absent, as though their mind, their emotions are elsewhere, even though they are actually physically present with you. So if you feel like this applies to your avoidant, that there is this disconnect and you feel like maybe they actually don't feel like they belong deep down, that they maybe don't even deserve to have that feeling of belonging. It is forbidden for some reason. It's something they have not experienced before. Then it's important that you address it to some extent. And one of the phrases you can use to help them with that is to say, hey, I just wanted to tell you it's really important to me that you feel like you belong, that this is your place. And chances are, when you say this, they're first going to look at you a bit confused and like, what do you mean? I know this is my place. Of course I belong here. To which you're going to have to reiterate, no, I mean like belong, that in your heart, in your emotions, you feel like you're at home, that you're safe here, that you can rest here. And if this is still an alien concept to them that they throw back, where they're like, yeah, I know all those things, why are you saying all this? Then there's a chance they might be very much out of touch with being out of touch, with being disconnected, which is not unusual for avoidance. So the problem can lie on deeper layers, but even just saying that, right, that it's important to me that you feel like you belong, that you have, that this is your home, that I'm your home, can really help plant the seed, at least. That they start wondering, why did you say that? And yeah, maybe deep down somewhere, I don't feel like I belong, or not as much as I'd like to, that I don't come home and just relax and feel at peace and good here. So try that one on for size. Now, the next thing an avoidant deeply craves that they may not verbalize is that they want to feel like they have meaning and importance, especially to you, their partner. Now, what do I mean by importance or meaning? It's about having purpose. It's about feeling valued, that them being in your life, them spending time with you, doing things with you, has an impact on you, that you feel that it invokes a sense of appreciation for them and value for them. For me personally, what that often looked like was overdoing something, that I would overgive or do acts of service that were just a little over the top, maybe even gifts, in an effort to make Carolina feel that I really loved her and I was of a lot of value, and she should really hopefully appreciate just how much I'm valuing her and she can maybe value me, right? There's this desperation almost of just wanting to feel appreciated, wanting to feel like I had meaning to her. And I think she saw through that and understood that on some level and did what she could to reassure me in her own way. Admittedly, it was a struggle for her to verbalize the validation, so we did turn in circles there for quite a lot of years. But you might find that your avoidant has this need to really feel like they play a vital role in your life, and that you can express to them in some way that that is the case, that they can then feel it. And a way to do that is to tell them, right? I really want to let you know just how much I appreciate X about you. So make it specific. If they are very attentive and thoughtful, tell them, I really appreciate how attentive and thoughtful you were when you brought me lunch that day, when you gave me that back massage, whatever it might be. Express the appreciation, the gratitude towards them. And the reason I'm saying this too is because it benefits you. It's not just about endlessly appreciating your avoidant and making them feel good. It's when you express this and say, this means a lot to me, they feel closer to you. You are helping them have their need met, that craving of belonging, of being important, and they in turn feel closer to you and more attached to you. So it's a two-way street and you both very much benefit from it. Life's too short, right? Please don't hesitate to express appreciation for it can be very little things as well. And to do so on the regular, right? It doesn't need to be this one-off grand expression, but rather every other day, right? If something comes up where you feel the appreciation for something they do or say, tell them. Now, the next one is also a little more vulnerable, but avoidants want to feel desired. And I'll tell you, this one was pretty hard for me as well because I wasn't so aware of it, but there was a lot of physical affection missing in my upbringing. And when you have that as a default and it's normal and a standard to you, you don't really think too much about it, right? In fact, in some people's cases, mine unfortunately as well to some degree, it was the opposite. There was physical abuse, right? So if there is this standard for that's what a caring caregiver or a person in charge of you might do, then the idea of being desired feels extremely far-fetched, right? Where somebody would be more kind and gentle. If it's the case for your avoidant that there is actually something more substantial in their past, some trauma that has taught them this is what they deserve, this is the kind of expression of physical contact they deserve, that it's maybe violent or abusive and crossing boundaries, then they might crave this even more so, right? They're wanting to feel tenderness, they're wanting to feel kindness, and they're wanting to feel that you desire them. And it doesn't strictly have to be sexual, just to be clear. I'm talking about even just being affectionate, stroking their cheek, giving them a massage, running your hand through their hair, just cuddling even. Something that is communicating to them, I desire you. I desire closeness with you and togetherness with you. And doing that can, of course, also really help alleviate any sense of isolation they have and wanting that space where you meet them physically and you both release all those wonderful bonding hormones and feel more attached to each other and closer to each other. So physical closeness, feeling desired, intimacy also play a really vital role here. And I know that for some of you guys, applying all of these ideas can be a bit of a struggle because your situations are more complicated, or maybe you just don't know how to approach and apply these things in your own specific circumstance. And if that's the case, of course, feel free to check out our coaching offering in the video description below, where we can help you personally one-on-one. Now, the last thing I want to talk about that avoidants really crave is, ironically, attachment. Yes, they actually want to be and feel attached. I most certainly did, despite having, I would argue, a very extreme upbringing and conditioning of detachment, where that was literally a dogma in my upbringing of being attached being the good thing, being the right thing, wanting closeness, needing closeness, being bad, almost evil. So I don't think avoidants are particularly exceptional here, right? We're all human beings. We all want to feel like we belong and have that closeness and that bond and attachment. But understand that behind that armor of I want space, I need more time, all the typical push behaviors that your avoidant might exhibit, there is a person that craves attachment, no matter what they say. And sure, there are issues in any relationship that come in the way of attachment, right? If you have argued over the same problems in your relationship for many, many years, you want different things, there are different expectations around family or kids, for example, then those things certainly come in the way of the desire to become attached. But it doesn't change that once those are resolved, once you don't have those things in the way anymore, their natural default is, yes, I want to be attached to you. They crave that as much as you do. And again, I really want to emphasize that if they are not getting attached, if they're not allowing themselves to, the needle is not moving, then it has to do with things being in the way, right? You have had too many issues pile up already in your interactions, in your relationships, that first need to be addressed and resolved, and then those feelings can develop again. Because I hear so many people talk about their partner losing attraction for them, right? That they maybe gained weight, they were depressed, there was something happening in their lives that made things difficult, and my partner lost attraction. Yes, sure, they may have lost attraction, but it doesn't change that you have all this history and this bond, and they feel attached to you regardless. And it's just about dealing with all of the things that got in the way of your attachment rather than losing attraction. So I think a better way to think about loss of attraction is the attraction is still there. It's just something got in the way. And the same applies for the attachment, right? You need to address the things that got in the way of it before the natural feeling can organically emerge again. Now, some of you might be sitting here and saying, yeah, but what if the armor is too thick? What if I have tried all of those things? What if I have even gone beyond all of that, made every imaginable effort, and yet my avoidant is still just resisting, they still don't want to connect? Then you're not even getting to the point of them expressing those cravings, right? They are more guarded and not trusting of you. So if that's the case, I would highly recommend you watch my wife's video next that is all about how she made me feel safe with her so that I could finally get past all that armor and allow myself to feel all the attachment and the bonding and all those nice feelings with her. I'll put that video up for you right here.